Ladies and gentlemen, and this is Elden Ring Unbiased review by the channel Dovahhatty. Yeah, it's another Dovahhatty video. I like this channel. I think I have watched all of the video from this channel. I guess there was just like, Roman videos. There was one other video, right? Then he went to the Justinian time, I think, right? But I guess he abandoned it. After that, he made the Game of Thrones one, and I think there was another one too there. And now the Elden Ring one. I guess he's changing his direction. Yeah, there was a time where he was gonna make a video about some sensitive topic, but after that he just changed direction. Like even him, right, couldn't tackle that. And knowing how in just past 2 years how strong YouTube has become with his restriction, I'm not surprised, because I don't think Dovahhatty would have survived that if he had gone through that route that he wanted to. So I like this because games are the one thing that creative people like Dovahhatty can have their thing, right? Can say things. Because in the end it's a game, he can just put it into review with YouTube and just like this, I'm talking about games. So games is the one thing. The clever people like Dovahhatty, Seth is also the edgy guy, let's just say, who says things that are questionable and can still survive. Yeah, if you're going to talk about real world element like history with the questionable things, it's going to be a bit hard. So I like how he's going to games and TV shows route. So Elden Ring, obviously this game is so big and so good that every creator that at least I know of is basically creating a review of this in just few months, because this game came out just a few months ago, 1 or 2 months ago, right? 2-3 months, I don't know. So this game is so big, definitely game of the year, I think, that people are just making reviews. So it's gonna be fun. Let's watch it.
Elden Ring is a call to crusade, a masterpiece where God orders you to kill heretics, slay eldritch monsters, and get lost in the vast open road written by George R.R. Martin. You play as a servant of the Greater Will, a higher deity tasking you to crusade to the Holy Land, gather the broken shards of the Elden Ring, and become its new lord. All spread out through the map and at the hands of crazy demigods, your job is to slaughter through their minions, clear the labyrinths they call home.
Oh my god, he's gonna talk about story. I mean, it makes sense. That's what Dovahhatty does. He talks about the events that happen, not actually how the game is, how the fun is, or talking about the game's gameplay and shit like that. This is gonna be so good because I don't know the story of Elden Ring. I'm pretty sure there's a channel, I forgot the name of the channel, that everybody says is literally the best channel for any Dark Souls type games. Elden Ring is also one of them, so he has lots of lore videos there, but I've never watched that, right? And I don't know the story of Elden Ring, so this is gonna be, I mean, it's an unbiased review, so I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but yeah.
And learn to love the feeling of your head against the wall, meeting wonderful people along the way, deranged lunatics, and all the quests and paths that lead to the masochistic experience ahead. So strap in, open your Bibles, and let's start with the basics. Gameplay. To the Unsoulsborn, you can attack, defend, and cast spells, with jumping and sneaking now included. Blocking time and you counterattack, sneak behind and backstab. Learn when to roll and you're golden. Magic is no meme. It's powerful, downright broken, and comes in two flavors. Staff wielding spells leveled by intelligence or incantations leveled by faith. Smite God's enemies with your hatred for them incarnate. Getting out of the tutorial, you're greeted by the first of such, a bloodlord worshipper that mocks you for not having a woman. Besides him is a site of grace where God both revives and guides you. If the soft array of light vaguely pointing somewhere isn't enough for your tarnished brain, then you're playing the wrong game. In Elden Ring there's no directions, not even journals. Much like scripture, you must interpret vague passages of text.
What, you gotta point to where the objective is? That's way too big. I need a fucking pointer on top of the thing for me to understand it.
For answers. Succeed and you get to the right place. Fail and you get lost, killed, and start wondering why everything's burning. There are roaming bosses everywhere, avoidable enemies that guard an area. Get too close and you'll be dead as soon as the boss music hits. FromSoft doesn't do level scaling. To kill them, you gotta slay their goons, collect runes, and meet Malenia, who'll teach you how to level up if you
I don't want to pause too much, but FromSoft doesn't do level scaling. I love that fucking thing. What's the... I never understood the level thing, right, in any game. I mean, there are lots of games that basically have this level system, which is kind of fucking stupid. But, some of the games which is like, it's not strong based on combat like Skyrim, also a level thing, but it doesn't scale everywhere, right? So the game that basically scales with you, I mean, what's the point of leveling up? Right, you level up, you get a badass equipment, so fucking what, your enemy has that too now. Just the area you pass through at level 3, which was, everybody was a bitch, now you're too powerful. and you go to that area, they are going to be same powerful as you. So what's the point of progression? I like this. You come across that boss is so badass, he'll just one-shot you. So you have to fucking prepare just to take him down. But he's not gonna get even more powerful than, you know, before. He's gonna be that. He was already too powerful, right? So if there is a fixed level system, that's awesome. You can create this in your head, a lore system, like this region is filled with bitches, this region is filled with all the bosses and badass people, and where you rank in that position over time, that's what drives you to become better. Level system is just fucking stupid.
Let her follow you around. Each stat increases a given skill. Where to allocate them is one of the main struggles for the faithless. Malenia will also give you a whistle that summons a magic war goat. It's on demand, useful, and loyal. Once killed, he's revivable with health potions, the ones you drink yourself every time you bite more than you can purge. Magic potions also exist, both upgradable. Here, the weapon makes the man. What you wield in battle is what decides how bloody the wall gets. Weapons can deal multiple forms of damage, each with a unique power. This scythe deals holy damage scaled to your faith, having the ability to wreck enemies' guard, completely spammable and effective. Not even mentioning all the ashes of war and talismans. The Sword of Night and Flame is something else. Once you've met the requirements, it deals 3 types of damage and casts 2 broken endgame spells. How well each weapon scales to your stats is displayed in letters. If you can't read, just throw enough somber stones at it till you can do this. The world is massive and filled with surprises. Landscapes are more vertical than the difficulty curve, and parkour skills aren't optional. Be it multiple portal gates or the odd elevator you found in the woods, you'll find yourself thinking you're just exploring a shitty cave.
Those maps give me the feel of Prince of Persia for some reason. Those massive towers, castle type system, and you just, yeah.
In an underground city filled with over-leveled atrocities spanning the whole map. Like real life, everywhere you go people wanna kill you or sell you something. If it's not monsters or the odd nomadic merchant, you find people asking for aid, making you go through the most forsaken areas of the map, slaughter hundreds of atrocities and their elder leader for questionable recompense. Sometimes you'll be blocked from an area, sealed by a puzzle with no hints. The average runt would go online, watching tutorials on how to solve their every problem. But you run over the entire area, read every line, item description and load screen twice before falling to the disgrace of relying on anyone but God. Boss fights are at the center of Elden Ring's design. These range from dudes in armor to Lovecraftian titans. You either have to be cautious, predicting which of their many appendages will attack you next, or balls to the wall, hugging their ass so tight they call 911. These fights aren't easy. Some will torment you for so many hours, spamming and insta-killing you in so many ways that by try 78 you have nothing left but pure rage. And that's when you win. Nothing beats the orgasmic cathartic high you get by posing at their corpse. Depending on the boss, they might say something as they die, have elaborate introductions filled with characterization and intriguing information. To understand them, this world, and all those you meet, including yourself, we must venture through the nightmare creature of vague uncertain truths that is Elden Ring's lore. Story. Long ago, the world was even more infested with heretical cults. Then one day, the Greater Will sent a giant alien to fuse with a woman and form the Elden Ring, a transcendental artifact of order, planting a giant tree that blessed people. Its every command relayed by a set of 2 hairy fingers. That woman, Marika, married Godfrey, making him the first Elden Lord, who led a bloody crusade to purge all heresy in the land, involving a war with giants and moon-worshipping Hogwarts, led by Queen Rennala. To beat them, Marika split off a male half, Radahn, who hooked up with Rennala and was cursed by the giants to be a ginger. Not needing Godfrey anymore, Marika divorced and sucked his soul, making him and his soldiers the first tarnished, banished beyond the fog. She had 4 demigod sons with him, plus 2 more with Radahn, who abandoned Rennala with their 3 children to masturbate. Marika didn't like death, so she tore the rune of death from the Elden Ring, giving it to her furry half-brother, making all immortal. Among the demigods was Ranni, one of 3 Empyreans, those born from a single god. Why is Ranni an Empyrean when their parents were distinct? In a game written by George and FromSoft, there are no answers, only theories. Rebellious, Ranni was indoctrinated by a witch.
I mean, stories usually always goes like this, right? There was God, somebody married this God, somebody angered certain gods, they were banished, they are cursed now, then something happened, you know, with God, and that somebody has now way too much power, and it's just always chaos around God related things. And there you go.
to hate God, stealing the rune of death, killing Best Boy, and destroying her body to unbind it from God. Her soul now inhabiting a doll cursed with a gravitational spell that attracts simps. The death of her only normal son drove Marika mad, shattering the Elden Ring and getting stuck in the tree with Radahn as punishment. Thus began the Shattering, where demigods battled each other for shards of the Elden Ring, hoping to mend it and succeed Radahn. It ended in stalemate, so God re-blessed some Tarnish to get the job done. This is why we purge. Experience. Now that you know the basics, it's time to share the divine comedy that's actually playing. The starting area, Limgrave, is already brimming with content. Plenty of enemies to beat and characters who captivate the soul. Among them Patches, an interdimensional scheming bastard that haunts you through the entirety of the Soulsborne games, except the worst one. There's friendly creatures to be enjoyed, like jellyfish and turtles, or as scientists call them, turtle friends. One of them so chill he was ordained as a bishop. Their leftover corpses freely usable as shields, protecting you from heresy even in death. All of your deaths are canonical. Once killed, you lose all of your shackles and gotta retrieve them. And there's no save files. If you regret a decision or miss content, you have to start all over. Except respects. It's a breathing world. Armies of rival demigods battle away, elevators...
That's the great thing about this, right? When you die, it's not like you just died and you have to restart the game. Like, oh, that didn't happen, I just reloaded back. No, you die, then that's a story's part that you fucking die. You have to come back and take your things where you died. Right? I mean, it is like a, God and, giants, titans type of game where you basically have a rebirth option. Why not? Rebirth? Yeah, whatever. Is that you basically reborn again somewhere, come back and take over your things. So every death is kind of a canon in the story.
you used have to be pulled back, and people you meet along the way travel just as you do, always to their detriment. The soundtrack is marvelous, from the ambient songs to the Mozart-tier orchestras that kick in every time you fight a boss. The sound design peaks satisfaction. Slaughtering your way to Stormveil Castle, you're stopped by Margit the Fell. Do you know how a pleb filter works? It raises its weapon, holds it, does a fake out, and then strikes. Elden Ring is roll bait galore. Truth is, Margit was born among cursed twins, being imprisoned for being horny, taking it out on pleb players. Patches even sells his old shackles. Feel free to abuse, or run past the castle. Past him you're guided by a chap that hates his boss. Nearby home you'll find mutilated, limbless bodies in every corner. The work of Godric, the Grafted. Born the weakest of his siblings, he held a grudge, hunting tarnished warriors to self-attach their limbs for strength. Kill him, and the chap will kick his corpse for the entire game. Godric had a thing for dragons, can't say why. Fight one dragon, fought them all. No wonder their devil abandoned them. Down in the corner, you can access the Roundtable Hold, a hub area where tarnished guided by God wait for you to lead to their deaths. One's a fellow brother that'll teach you incantations, another an all-knowing nonce, and one the Dung Eater, a criminal tarnished that larps as an omen and defiles corpses to curse them. How he defiles is unknown. Among them you'll meet Fia, the deathbed companion. On the surface of her chest you'll find warmth, but within lies heresy. Seeking to revive Godwyn as the Lord of Death, she rejects God's order, promoting life beyond death, that which every damn ghost is cursed with. Not to be confused with the specter of players sharing their wisdom on the ground. Go through her entire convoluted quest for an even tighter hug. It's halal, a crusader kills her. Past Stormveil you get to Liurnia, an area overflowing with swamps and disgusting creatures. It's here where you can barge into
so every time you hug her, your health goes down, is that it? You got a debuff.
Hogwarts, D-Day through it, kill the students, and get to Rennala. Ever met a girl that just wouldn't get over him? Imagine giving her a doomsday laser. Beating Rennala isn't so simple, not cause it's hard, but cause FromSoft can't get hard without forcing players to run miles past enemy lines after every death. Stakes of America not for thee. Enemy variety boggles the mind. You fight everything from humanoids, plants, to every form of demon Japan can rip from mythology. By far the worst are dogs. Get surrounded by a pack and you're dead. Northeast lies.
Yeah, one thing's really interesting, like games like this, I mean, bosses can't get hard because they're always hard from the start, right? They're just fucking hard. They just get more complicated. It's not really hard, it's just complication. So only thing that, you know, veterans of this From Software games, only problem they would have is fucking walking and commute. Like, what the fuck? Where's the next boss? Let's go. Boss is hard. Yeah, boss is more complicated. There is no such thing as hard anymore.
Caelid, with even bigger dogs and ruined by the battle between two demigods. Malenia, an Empyrean cursed with rot, and Radahn, a fanboy of two Elden lords who copied their drip and learned gravity magic so his horse could carry him. While fighting, Malenia released her rod, driving Radahn mad and turning the land into an apocalyptic painting, with Radahn dedicating his last neurons to lock the stars into place, cause not even lobotomized he would give up the joy of triggering moon worshippers, even organizing a recurring festival where warriors band together to kill him as his preferred method of suicide. His fight is glorious, taking an entire gang and loads of cheese to bring him down. Just as apocalyptic as Caelid are the volcanic lands, ruled by his brother Rykard, who committed the worst crime of all. No, not heresy. He's even worse than a heretic. When the Tarnished were banished by divine decree, Rykard dared question God's decision, calling him cruel and arbitrary. Shunned by his faithful siblings, him and his blasphemous followers were crusaded multiple times. To fight them, he let a giant serpent devour his body, eating people to absorb their strength and devour his brethren, forming the Volcano Manor and crossbreeding humans with snakes. I joined his faction just so I could purge him. So hated this blasphemer was, his own veteran made a sword specifically for killing him. When I told everyone I killed their god, they were chill, thanking me for showing how weak he was. When I got back to Spit where he died, the bitch was eating his regenerating corpse. If you're too disgusted to fight such depths of depravity, use the Mimic tier. An Ash summon that copies your build and both tanks and attacks enemies for you. It's so OP that even nerfed, you can summon it, sit around and watch.
One trend I was seeing from these games are certain scenes from this game is like, what the hell's wrong with the developers, right? I mean, some scenes are really dark, right? I mean, some decisions, some scenes, right? Even the hugging that, person, whatever, gives you debuff and things like that. I mean, I'm sure that there is some reason for it, but from outside perspective, some of these things feels really weird, man.
Watch it kill minions and bosses alike as you think of all of the ways Ranni's followers will burn in hell. Living nearby her alleged mother, Ranni plots to collect finger-slaying weapons and use her tier 3 simps to cast God aside and rule over an eternal night. Her entire questline is a test of faith. It's filled with well-written, likable characters that keep making you ask funny questions. Is God truly good if there's so much suffering? Do you not want a cute anime girl ruling the world? Should you really worship an alien entity that disgraced your very kind and massacres all that disobey it? Yes. Her dark god of the moon is only one of many devils. Go the wrong way in Liurnia and you'll be stricken from your horse, afflicted with the maddening heresy of the Frenzied Flame. Seeking to destroy creation, it fills the mind of its victims with communist propaganda, making them wish to burn all that divides and distinguishes. Corrupting souls and entire villages with eye-melting hatred for all life, it plots to have you inherit the Frenzied Flame from the abhorrent Three Fingers and become the Lord of Chaos to destroy the world. Its followers are all either demons or victims. Ever attacked a merchant? They reply with frenzied spells. Long ago they were accused of heresy by a frenzied demon, so God banished them underground, making them lament with such agony they summoned the devil, which now haunts them. But even to the most depraved violent players, their salvation. The third and last of the Empyreans is Malenia's twin, Miquella. Like his sister, he was cursed with a crippling affliction. He was Malenia's male twin. While making him attractive and beloved by all, it also made him a target for the biggest homo around, Mohg. Margit's twin, he also broke free and kidnapped Miquella to worship him as his twink god, led to the sinful path by a demonic formless mother with a curse kink. Saddened by his sister rotting away, Miquella had renounced God, planting his own earth tree and making a staff that casts away the heresy from outer gods. Use it to cleanse the antinatalist filth that's taken over you. As for the heretic Mohg, he was so scared by my crusader physique he couldn't move, so I kicked him to death. This was the Bloodlord that Mascot worshipped, the same one that teaches you how to invade other players, appearing as a red-tainted specter barging in someone else's game to ruin their day or get vibe checked. Elden Ring's endgame
really,
depends on which path you followed. If you were faithful, you have become a divine paladin, zapping and healing through any fight, scaring plebs with your mere presence. Should you have chosen paths of heresy, you have attained skills and weapons so broken and apelonas you'll be lost to what even is the meaning of playing anymore. The answer is exploring. FromSoft follows the enlightened philosophy of I'm gonna make huge detailed areas for the game and make them an active pain to reach. You never know which untraveled road or dank cave may lead to an unseen area with secret enemies. Nocron and Oxtella alone, once banished underground by the Greater Will for being filthy moon worshippers.
See, people with OCDs might have a hard time enjoying this game just for that fact. Like this is the map. Now there are certain areas that are really hard to reach. You have to find them. So people might literally search every nook and cranny just so they don't miss something. They would have a hard time because they'll be constantly stressed out just so they don't miss something, right? That's the problem with games like this. Anybody with mild OCD, they would have a hard time.
Are home to more bosses than Disney HQ. Other areas get more complicated. Malenia, for example, requires 2 long quests to find the halves of the lost medallion that opens the secret elevator to the puzzle pre-area to the Rio Tree area to get through the thousands of enemies stationed in front of her first mini-boss. If you think you beat her easily, you got more faith than me. Her weapon heals damage, and she attacks like this. Crusading through the capital, you fight Margit again, now Morgoth, cause half the characters in this game have an alter ego. And for all that, you'll be spurned by the tree from passing. What did God mean by this? Confronting the High Priestess, you'll find the fingers won't receive an explanation until Winds comes out, so you conclude the obvious. God is a heretic. Marika, still bitter, sullied the Golden Trinity, wishing for an end that should not be. Gideon glimpsed at it, and it drove him so mad he thought he had a chance against my cheese. With God's vessel compromised, I fell to the Church Fathers. The brilliant Golden Mask is a blessed tarnish who has achieved such knowledge of the greater will he can communicate PhD level theology with one finger. He's got an entire quest with Brother Corhel in which he discovers an imperfection in the Golden Order, Marika, sacrificing himself to write an update for the faith. You can beat the last fire giant and Melina will use the fire their dead god made to burn open the Earth Tree. The land will be covered in cinders and the Roundtable will burn. Almost no one left to care, cause you did their quests. Breaking into Marika's prison, she transforms herself into himself, and you, against this all-powerful deity, knight and flame him down with your shadow clone. Not even God's vassal can deal with the mimic cheese. With their deaths, everything is now possible. You can prolong the outdated faith, restore death, curse everyone, or burn it all down. Worse, hand the universe to your waifu.
Okay, so that's one of the ending here. So how many endings this game have? How many choices can you make?
Alas, I imposed my religious interpretation by force and ruled over all as their immortal pope. Marvelous game. Play it now. In fact, play all Soulsborne games. Cause like them, all that will be left in time is waiting for DLCs, watching lore videos, and playing against the increasingly fanatical player base as we meme. God knows, we wouldn't have it any other way. This sermon was shielded by the Finger Maidens, pure women pledging their hearts and souls for the greater will. Join up.
Yep, there you go. So I guess that was one of the darker ending he had in the end. Huh. So is that 2, 3, how many endings this game has? That would be interesting to see. Nowadays every game has to have multiple endings, right? It's just like giving you the feel that you are changing the game, like you're playing your version of the story. That has become a trend in past 5-6 years. That every game has like multiple, not just 2, 3, 4, 5 endings in different way. So that is kind of a clever thing to do that actually gives you a feeling like you played your unique gameplay, right? Playthrough. All the decision you made had an impact and you had this type of a ending. So it feels unique rather than just scripted game that you have some choices but the ending is always like a scripted, is like no. So multiple ending thing is good. Right, well, that was Elden Ring Unbiased review by the channel Dovahhatty. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, check out the reaction, this link in the description, check out the ink cards, check out the cards I guess, and yeah, I'll see you next time.